Hi, I'm Colin. This is Dead Dodge Garage. This is my 1964 Plymouth Fury. If you've been around for a minute, you've seen this car. It handles really well. It's got giant holes in the floor. It smokes really badly. The rear end was jacked up way high to clear those 295/50s, which would fit fine if the wheels were offset properly. I've had this car for 8 years, and for whatever reason or another, I've barely driven it. We're going to start upgrading this car because I want to drive it, and I've got a really big road trip in mind. There is a total solar eclipse next year in April. I've been planning on taking this car on this big, ridiculous road trip, and before now, I hadn't really touched the car and gotten it ready. So I've got a series of upgrades in mind for the car so that it is a little safer to drive, literally across the country. We're calling this trip Plymouth in a Plymouth. We're going to drive this particular Plymouth to Plymouth, Massachusetts. We've got a whole stack of parts here that we need to install on this car. Of course, we still need an engine out of the Valiant first before we can do some of them. But today, we're going to start doing a rear disc brake conversion using this kit from Dr. Diff. And in this bucket, we got a nice new 355 Sure Grip chunk to install in the car. I'm thinking about changing up the wheels on the Fury, and if I put these on with a little taller tire on the back so it's a little more muscly, I can eliminate the air shocks. I really like the center lines that were on here, but I think this will be a better fit, at least for now. First things first, we're going to pull the back wheels off, we're going to take the rear drums off, slide out the axle shafts. There, one nice neat little pile. Looks like we might need a wheel seal. There's a little bit of wetness around there. Judging by the silicone that's in there, probably don't have a gasket. That could be a problem too. Put that right there. Nothing's ever got lost there before. These probably aren't going to just pop right out. Just kidding. It's fine. Yoink. Removing the backing plate at this point, pretty simple. Pinched off our line there so we don't lose all our brake fluid. Unhook the line from the wheel cylinder, and this backing plate's going to come right off. I said it comes right off. Boom. Unfortunately, so did our foam gasket. We'll just leave that. Also, to watch out for on the passenger side, if you're running the factory tapered roller bearing, there's an adjuster on this axle, which is this piece here. There we go. And there's a special flanged nut and this little keeper to stop it from spinning. So once you set your end play using the little spinner here, you lock it down with that piece. Make sure you don't lose that. If I were only doing the disc brakes, I could start putting stuff together right now. But we're going to go ahead and pop this center chunk out first. All right, step one. We're going to try and pop the drive shaft off here. Oh, that wasn't really tight. Can we get this out without leaking oil out of the trams? Yes! 8 3/4 do not have a drain plug, so you just got to pull all the nuts, pull it out of there, and let it drain all over Jamie's shop floor. Or into a drain pan, I guess. That's fine too. Oh, I did not get a new gasket for this. That's fine. I think I usually just silicone these anyway. I always start at the bottom so I can let it start to drain. Can start wiggling it out once I get the rest of the nuts out. And drain even more. That's only a little shiny. Oh, I didn't open the drain in the pan. We'll just let that drain for a minute. Oh, right. Safety nut. Boom. Center chunk is out. If you've never looked at an 8 3/4 center chunk before, it's got numbers right on the side to tell you what it is. This one, 294. Not a performance chunk by any means, but if you're looking to cruise around on the street, it's not bad. Now this is an open diff. You got your 4 spider gears here, and basically there's a lot of disappointment right in there. This only spins 1 tire when you're doing a burnout. We're gonna fix that with this bucket. This is a brand new chunk. And it even came with new gear break-in instructions and recommended gear oil, which is Lucas 85140. There's a lot less disappointment in this differential housing. There's clutches and springs and, I mean, who knows what. How does positive traction in a Plymouth work? I don't know. What I do know is these numbers right here, 39 by 11. You divide 39, the big gear, by 11, just the pinion gear, and you get the magical ratio that is 3.55 to 1. Chryslers use a couple different size U-joints. Maybe more, I don't know. I'm not the expert on U-joints. Luckily this new one uses the same small joint that I pretty much always seem to have. Our current U-joint's gonna go right in there. We don't have to swap to a bigger shaft or combination joint or do anything weird. This is just gonna fit right in, which is great. We do need to transfer this pinion snubber over. It's in kind of poor shape, but we'll probably fog that black so it blends in a little better with this nice looking case. Oh yeah, let's just get dirt right in the brand new chunk of gears. I think we all know where this is going. That's not black. Whoopsies. Let's try that again. Well, if that ain't freshly restored, I don't know what is. Oh, missed a spot. There we go. Now, it's a brand new snubber. Nope, not even gonna let the paint dry. This isn't exactly a restoration job we're doing here. It's just gotta be black, you know? I don't know if this thing's powder coated or what, but those threads. They're not very clean. Don't know if that's crustiness from my bolts or if that was in this nice reconditioned case or what, but holy moly. Well, now this is happening. 1/4 turn at a time. I've got a fond idea of driving this out of here tonight with the disc brakes and a new chunk, and I don't think it's gonna happen. For one thing, I don't have the right gear oil. It is ready to go in. Does that look as shiny on camera as it does in real life? Ooh. The instructions say to change the fluid after about 2,000 miles of gentle break-in. We'll see how that goes. If you've never lifted one of these before, they're a little heavy. wasn't too bad. What do you think the torque spec is for these nuts? Seems tight to me. Let's see about installing some brakes. I still need to actually unbox everything. Do people still like unboxing videos? We've got some instructions, which are sometimes important to read. We've got nice braided lines and some hardware to bolt it onto the car. We've got a couple of nice, shiny black calipers to match our white and black motif we have going on. Then we've got these nice, very light aluminum brackets. That's kind of the key to this whole thing. Boom! That's a brake rotor. I didn't bother getting the drilled and slotted ones, mostly because my rotors on the front are just plain, so they'll match. Is drilled and slotted better? I have no idea. But this is going to be good enough. There's important notes here about how to arrange the aluminum bracket and your gaskets. White foam gasket goes on the outside of the bracket. Beaded steel gasket if you're running OEM wheel bearings, which we are. But those gaskets are not included in the kit. Uh-oh. I figured out what I was going to do for our lack of axle shaft gaskets. And the solution is really simple. There's really no flaw with this plan, which is to put the axles back in and pretend like we have the right gaskets and then be confused why we can't get the end plate set up properly later. But you know what? I think it'll be fine, really. Where'd our nuts go? Oh yeah. On this side, I'm only going to do 4 of them, and I'll do the locking one last once we set our end play. I cannot tell you why someone painted one side orange and one side white. I have no idea. There. Now they're both black. Those are some greasy rotors. I think I got them cleaned off okay. We're gonna start installing calipers now. They include some washers to put between the caliper bracket here and the caliper bracket that mounts it to the axle to center it up over the rotor. So I've got the rotor held snug with a lug nut. We're gonna throw this on and see how centered it looks. That kind of already looks centered to me. I never tighten these nuts. I have a perfectly reasonable excuse, which is I did the other side intending to put that one together. An observant commenter on the Barracuda asked if Jamie and I were really this kind of potato all the time. And the answer, I think it's yes. One of the other reasons I'm doing this is because this has a parking brake built onto it. This car's never had a parking brake as long as I've owned it. So I got parking brake cables with these, and I'm gonna make the parking brake work. That looks pretty centered to me. Ow. Hey, look. I actually turn the same direction now. We're gonna throw a line on here. And I think it goes like this. and then like this. I might be able to just bend that down and plug it in. We've got these, well, we did. We've got these L-shaped tabs that these are gonna go onto here, and then we'll put on a retaining clip. They're gonna go on the back of the bracket here, right up here. Wow. And if I'm lucky, I can really carefully bend this down and thread it right in and not have to build new brake lines. Whenever possible, use a nice tubing bender to do this. I'm gonna say my hands are a nice tubing bender in this application. But are they? Now, I'd like to set up my parking brake cable. It's pretty simple. Just goes through there. Waggles right into place. And boom. And then I'm gonna run this. There's 2 holes. I think I'm gonna do the upper hole. It's almost a little long. But you know what? That's why God invented zip ties. 1 disc brake. Not bad. If I'd known I was going to do a 17-inch wheel, I would have gotten bigger brakes. We seem to have plenty of clearance on our line, same on our parking brake cable. That'll work. We'll put the other side together and maybe we'll bleed some brakes. As someone that's never done this before, I think I actually did it right. There seems to be almost exactly 10 thou. It's not just good, it's good enough. That definitely won't fall off there. Ooh. Oops. Got a slightly better look at this, and the thick washers were a little too much. The caliper was too far this way, and there was a big gap here. So I put the little spacers back in, and it centered up the caliper pretty nicely. Trying to install our parking brake cable here, and this bracket's a little bent. There we go. Well, after some gentle hammering, it actually fits in there. I just need a second hand to get that clip in. Here, you want to point this up there? Oops. Still pointing? Where's the screwdriver that we're not supposed to use as a chisel or a punch? Fingers don't work. Where'd it go? Alright.
I need 5 hands.
5 hands?
I need 8 more hands, please.
Looks installed to me. Oh. Now I need it in gear so I can actually torque these. I'm not going to do that right now. Hopefully I forget and just leave these not tight. That'd be funny. I went around and tightened everything after getting that line hooked up, which, you know, again, is a little ugly. I'll run new lines later that look a little prettier, probably. All right, fine. I'll put the fluid in now. 355 sure grip. Done. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to bleed brakes with a 5-year-old before, but we're gonna give it a shot. Release. Press. We need more brake fluid. I think we're out of fluid now. Wow. That's just no good. How do you feel about bleeding brakes?
Good.
You think you can do it if we have fluid next time?
Yeah.
You were hitting the pedal right, so good job. We also need to remove the residual pressure valve that's in here. I've never actually done this before, but it's supposed to be pretty easy. Oops. I still need that. Next, we need a screw. Let's try this guy. Take your screw and you thread it into the hole in the residual pressure valve, which you can't see in there, but trust me, it's in there. The front port of your disc drum master cylinder is for the rear drums. You thread this in just a little bit, just enough to grab. Then you grab your pliers. And then it just comes right out. Yeah. Ugh. Oh, I dropped it. I just had to pry a little bit and it came out. I don't know where it went. I guess you're just gonna have to trust me. But it did it. There's a couple little bits left in there. There we go. Little rubber bit, little spring. I'm gonna say that's it. There was a little brass piece, a little brass cone looking thing with a hole in the front, the little rubber seal bit, and a spring. Hey, they still kind of feel like brakes. I'm putting the wheels on, I'm getting ready for a test drive, and I look down in the dirt and there's the little brass piece from the residual pressure valve. That is what we pulled out of the master cylinder with the screw, along with the little rubber bit and the spring. Well. Alright, we just learned something important about residual pressure valve removal. The pressure valve is just the little rubber and spring that goes in here. You still need this little brass piece to seal up against when you have your fitting in there. You don't want to damage it if you want to reuse it. And we're going to reuse it, so we're going to remove that little bit hanging off, and hopefully it still seals after that little bit's gone. It can't be worse. Fixed. I tightened all the lug nuts, but maybe we'll check them anyway. Let's see if we can see what these noises are all about. First little test drive with the new gears, trying to break them in. It said drive for 15 to 20 minutes and kind of vary your speed a little bit and then let cool for 20 to 25 minutes afterward, but heard kind of a funny noise when we were about to pull off the highway to turn around. Wanted to make sure the wheels were still attached. No lug nuts falling off, so not sure what did fall off, but we're not going to die. That's the good news. That's a fine automobile, if I do say so myself. We're going to finish this particular test run and maybe go get a snack. I don't know. What do you think it was? Yep, everything's still in there.
Yep. It was just a random noise.
I didn't leave any wrenches on there this time. It sounded like a bolt. I don't know. Oh well.
Maybe it was just a bolt and our imaginations.
Here we go. I know. My starter started making some funny noises earlier today. Well, now she's dead. My cars always seem to have problems losing starter bolts, or starter bolts coming loose and causing starter engagement issues. When we were test driving the Fury the other day, I heard something fall out of the car. And we stopped. And we eyeballed the car and didn't see anything important missing. And then later, the starter wouldn't, turn the engine. If a little is good, more is better. Does this bolt seem kind of short? Oh. If less is more, more is better. Part 2. This one actually goes in and threads in the hole. Benefit to not having headers. You can actually access your starter bolts. Good thing I'm going to ruin this with headers soon. Ooh. This looks really safe. That's fine. This is a 275/50 17. This is a 27.8 inch tall tire, which is almost 2 inches taller than the 275/40. It's going to fill out that rear wheel well a lot better. This is an NT 555 G2, which if you know anything about real tires, well, I don't. What I do know is that compared to something like this, really anything that goes on a 14 or 15 inch wheel, the handling capabilities on these are going to be a lot higher. I should take the wheels off the trunk before I lift it. Going up. Let's get to it. These really make the suspension on this car. You do not need Hotchkiss upper control arms on your daily driver B-body, on your weekend cruiser, on whatever, but if you want a car to handle, these are exceptional. I already have a pair of these for my Charger, and it's the newer style that has an adjustment nut, so you can adjust them on the car without having to unbolt them from the upper eccentrics. Yeah, there's some other tubular arms out there. I've never used them. I've used these, and they've got this fancy relocation bracket to flatten the arm out, and it makes the suspension geometry better. And I can tell you, they work. I've got poly bushings in here. We've got big, giant 1.12 inch torsion bars. The front suspension of this car is pretty serious. And now, finally, we'll have some wheels and tires that will actually complement it. These springs have been on here forever, and I would like to get new ones, and I'd like to eliminate the shackles. I'd like to eliminate the air shocks, although honestly, when you're on a road trip, it's kind of nice being able to set the height of your car back up after you've loaded it down with people and their luggage, and it's sitting down like this. So I might keep them, at least for the trip. Look at that. Where's our nuts? There we go. I would like to try and keep weight down on this car. I was hoping it was going to be in the neighborhood of like 3,500. I've heard these early B-bodies aren't super heavy, especially compared to like the Charger. But I scaled it and it's 3,600 pounds. And especially by the time we add these steel wheels, it's going to be closer to 37, which is pretty disappointing. But I mean, look at it. How do you say no to this? If you've never torqued wheels before, 2 Duggas is pretty good. And then I'll bust out the torque wrench, fine. And here's Hot Dog helping out. What's up?
I'm hungry. Can you get me some food?
Do you want to help me torque wheels and we'll go get breakfast in the car?
Let's just go.
Okay, we'll just go right now. Okay. All right, Hot Dog decided to help after all. Remember our star pattern on the lug nuts? Do not pull that trigger and fully send that. Oh, it's on loosen. Hold on. Where's the gun? Ah!
No.
Okay, put the gun on there. Oh, hi, Mama.
Hi, Mama. Let's go get some breakfast.
Yeah, he's ready for breakfast. You want to go for a ride in the Fury? Sure. Cool. I just got to finish putting on my new wheels.
Let's go to Taco Bell.
Apparently. I think our Taco Bell does breakfast.
I think so.
Yeah, that's right. He can't lift that. I better go help. Here, hold this. Here, actually, wait, that's heavy. How about you hold this? Henry, what are we doing in this car in 6 months?
Driving to Plymouth.
Yep. Do you know why? Do you remember why?
No.
What trip did we just do in the Impala?
The Eclipse.
Yeah, so there's another eclipse coming up in April. This one's going to be a total solar eclipse, which means the whole sun is going to get covered this time. And it's going to get like proper dark.
How dark?
Dark, like the sun being down dark, almost as dark as night. Ugh, really cool. Oh yeah, we're going to be on the road for like 3 weeks. Yeah, I warned my bosses. I don't know that they're excited, but I told them and they said, okay, so I'm in.
This will keep it. Dad, now I have a really idea.
Okay, what did you know that's sideways, right? I really like the black wheels. I think they set off the white of the car, well, you know, the mostly white of the car pretty nicely. I dig it. And those brought the rear end up enough. I want to put the leaf springs on the very top hole of the shackles to drop it down. Then if it's a little too low at that point, I'll put a couple more pounds of air in the shocks, which I pretty much have lowered all the way at this point. Let's go get Hot Dog some breakfast and we'll address more of these problems later. This big ridiculous hole is there because I have a factory style 4-speed hump for this car and it doesn't fit because of those crappy patches. So we're gonna fix everything wrong with this car, or most of the things wrong with this car, before we drive it all the way across the country. Probably. And in the meantime, it's got good tires on it and I can rip it around here some. And now we're gonna drive it to breakfast. I thought you had him.
No.
Oh, well, we lost Hot Dog. All right, these wheels and tires are awesome. We made it to Taco Bell for breakfast for some reason, and there is a horde of motorcyclists in the Tractor Supply parking lot. Holy moly. All right, we test drove the car to breakfast. It's pretty good, drives pretty good. I'd like to do kind of a highway test drive, but we'll see. Maybe I should test drive it out to Mike's and see how they're doing on the Barracuda. Well, made it this far without dying. Huh. Sure are. Yeah. I hope I don't wash all my primer off. That'd actually be kind of funny. We're gonna make the deck blue again. Dude. That's disgusting. Ow. When did that fall over? Look at that. It's almost the car it used to be. Except for all the rust. Rust never sleeps. Just in time for it to rain. It looks way better with a bath, but we're gonna take it one step further here. When I got it, I think it might have been here. Maybe not. Maybe it was always here. Definitely been in the middle hole for a long time. Activities in there now. That sounds torqued to me. Oopsies. Wow. Be cool if I broke this bolt right now. Whoa, working trunk light. Next time, I'm gonna figure out how to fit all this to the car. We need clips that aren't totally destroyed. But I have all this trim and I'd really like it to be there. That's all for this one. We got our rear brakes and gears installed. We got some new wheels and tires. Next time, we're going to rip the engine out of the horse barn Valiant and stick it in the Fury with a set of headers and a new steering box. At some point, we'll be fixing the floors in the Fury and getting the interior a little more comfortable for a cross-country road trip. Maybe we'll even tackle some of this rust that's coming through around the wheel wells. Or maybe it'll just look kind of like this forever. Thanks for watching. And remember, if everything's coming your way, you're in the wrong lane.